Welcome everyone to Conquering Boredom. I am your host, Marcus Howe, and tonight we are reviewing Zombicide Green Horde. Now, if you haven't seen our playthrough or how to play, then definitely check those videos out. You can find them in the YouTube card or down in the description below. So, sit back and I hope you enjoy. My initial impressions of this game was, I actually saw it like an online review of this game, and I thought, that looks really cool.
The first thoughts I had on this game was that it actually looked really cool. The box was absolutely massive.
So first impressions, just looking at the box, really nice art design.
So I was super pumped about this game like when I first saw it, and it looked like a ton of fun.
And it had a lot of weight, so I figure it's probably going to include a lot of pieces, which means it's going to be pretty complicated.
But just like really fun art design, it really pops. The characters are all interesting. That's the thing when you look at like each of these characters, they're all very unique, very interesting characters.
But when I heard it was a fantasy setting, I was like, I definitely want that.
This isn't like a pickup game where you can just throw something together and just get it done. It does require a little bit of time, but I don't mind. Like it was definitely really good.
I don't play a lot of zombie video games, and so that was like, I was worried about that because I'm actually afraid of zombies in reality. But this turned out, so that was like an initial thing. I was like, I don't know. But again, just the art design and the way things were set up looked fun enough. I wasn't too worried about it.
So yeah, first impressions, I thought it looked cool.
The gameplay was really good.
Overall, I think that the game plays very well. I think a lot of things are balanced.
I think the gameplay of this, of Zombicide Green Horde, I think flows really well. I think
there is a lot of setup, but once everything's actually set up, the game plays really smoothly, really easily. You just kind of move through the game. It's like, oh, this thing needs to happen, but we can just make it happen right now. Like there's not a lot of time you have to spend like figuring out, like there's a couple things like, oh, what does this move do? It does that. Okay, and you're done. And so there's not a lot of delay in terms of like figuring out how things work, figuring out what this does, what that does. It's just like, it takes a second. It's really convenient. There are a lot of games where like to figure out like how this one rule interacts can take like 5 minutes and arguments for 5 minutes. But there's not really anything like that in this game. Everything's pretty well covered, and everything's pretty basic, pretty simple. Yeah.
some of the things I don't like about it were sometimes it's a little too heavy on the chance element.
You know, there is a luck of the draw type of thing where, you know, where one of the moments we had with drawing one of the Enter the Horde cards and a lot of spawns happening towards the beginning of the game really kind of makes you sweat.
And then sometimes you get like that really lucky breaks with the Into the Horde being drawn like first turn so that nothing happens. So there's some chance elements that can kind of like take away from the experience.
And we unfortunately did lose a scene. But, you know, we can't dwell on the past. So
overall, I think it's really good, and a lot of the elements really add to the gameplay experience and just build up that suspense when you see that horde enter and you're only 2 spaces away and you see the zombie pool dwindling and you're just like, oh gosh, how are we going to overcome that? So it's definitely very exciting, and the mechanics kind of keep you on edge a lot of the times.
overall, I think it's great. It flows well.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite moment, because my least favorite moment, of course, was losing poor Seam. He deserved so much better. I was left playing a big support role, I feel like, in a lot of things, like cleaning up after, or helping people clean up after certain messes, or using speed on people so that they could get in more advantageous situations. And so there wasn't really a single moment that I was like, yeah. I think there was a point as soon as I hit yellow level where I was on a roll already, and then I hit yellow level and got that extra action. So that was pretty exciting.
favorite moment of this game in particular, when I finally got the bone kukri and bone, what was it? The bone sword. When I finally got that combination and then got a curved dagger on top of that, I was like, this is awesome. I get to roll 5 dice, and so I was just super excited to like run into a horde of zombies and just like killing them left and right. And so that was one of the moments that I had fun, but it was...
My favorite moment, toward the end with Varen, you know, we're pushing into the trebuchet and looking at my cards, you know, everything that I have in front of me, and I realize that I can make 4 regular rolls, and then I level up, and I could make another roll, but then I also have like another card that allows me to attack another time. So I basically have the ability to roll 6 times, and 4 of those times, 5 of those times, I could use 6 dice.
It was really fun to watch Baron, just like the little dwarf, just loaded up with a shield and like 2 dwarven weapons, just charge into the last fight.
Which, in any dice rolling mechanic type of game, is probably the most energizing thing that you can do when you're like shaking this massive fistful of dice and unleashing them against this horde.
And they just like take them all out with half his moves, and it's like, well, yeah, this space is clear, we're good.
It was fantastic.
Well, I've played it quite a few times. This is definitely one of my favorite games. I love the miniatures. I love the feeling of this game, the medieval setting. I love how it all comes together, and so it's definitely up there, one of my top games. A game I'm definitely always ready to pull out and play with my friends. So it does require a bit of setup, but once you kind of get the setup going, I feel like it's fairly easy, and it's a cooperative game, which is nice. So even people who aren't big board gamers, you can kind of introduce them into here, but being on a team kind of helps them learn a little bit of a more complex game. So definitely like it and would recommend it.
Overall, I think this is a fantastic game to bring some friends together, to be able to play a little bit more of an intense game, make you sweat a little bit at certain moments. There's, I don't know, a certain level of panic that happens during certain parts of the game, and I enjoy that sort of game mechanic.
The games suck. I'm just kidding. No, the game's really good. It's a very fun game. Once if you can get everything set up before you convince people to play the game, it's really easy to convince people to play. It's like, hey, you want to kill some zombies in a board game? Yeah, sure. And it's really easy that way. So I think it's a fun game. I think it's an easy game to sort of get into. Again, if they don't get scared off from the setup time and setup period, but otherwise it's a good fun game.
Definitely a game I recommend.
So overall, it is an easy 10 out of 10 Marcus heads.
9 out of 10 Marcus heads, I would say. 9 out of 10. And finally, how many Marcus heads did you get?
Alright, those were our thoughts on Zombicide Green Horde. Definitely let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts are. Also, if there's any particular game you want us to play and review, let us know down there as well. Question of the day, what was your favorite moment in Zombicide? Let us know, and remember, until next time, good luck conquering.
And I won the game. For us all. I
All
did
right.
put a lot of barriers up.